So, I've had a few requests on this topic, and I thought it'd be a good one to make. And as the title would imply, this video is about how I source my inventory as a business, and especially as a recycling company. So, there's two different ways I get it. I either buy it, which is kind of obvious, or I get it from recycling pickups. And a lot of the stuff you'll see here right now in frame, this is all stuff from recycling pickups, old computer monitors, and those are actually fluorescent bulbs that are new in the box, came from businesses shutting down, and it's like, sure, I'll clear those out for you. It's not like I have lights that I can use them in. Yeah, so a lot of this electronic stuff I get is from recycling pickups. It's just stuff where people will give it to me, and then depending on what it is with my business, I will either try to find a new home for it or it'll just get recycled for the scrap metals. And with buying stuff, sometimes the higher end stuff, I used to buy a lot of restaurant equipment. That's kind of how I got my hands on this. And other items, I don't know, this patio umbrella that was part of a recycling deal, another business that shut down. And same with a lot of this stuff here. This is all stuff that came from various recycling pickups. And with some of my higher end stuff, I do actually pay money for it. So as an example here, a lot of these servers I paid money for, some of which I paid too much for, unfortunately. I think I've been sitting on these HPs now for like 3 years. Whoops. I need to get around to selling them. They're DL360 Gen 9s. Probably gonna steal the memory out of them for other machines, but yeah. So I will buy stuff like this. A lot of these servers came from either medium businesses or part of data center upgrades from people that have racks upon racks of equipment. Some of the stuff I probably shouldn't be sitting on, like these R710s. I mean, they're still decent machines, but they're starting to get dated. And on top of that, most of these are kind of an undesirable config. I mean, there's really not much you're going to do with these when you can get an R720 for slightly more, and it's going to be a way better machine. But, you know, something like this R710 here with the I guess six 3.5-inch drive bays. I mean, this is still a perfectly good TrueNAS server. Although I do have some 12-bay R510s I need to go through. This one's a little worse for wear. But yeah, so I'll buy stuff from businesses that are doing system upgrades, which is nice. That's probably where I make most of my money, even though it's my greatest risk. Like, I might have gosh, I don't even want to think about it. I probably have like $8,000 tied up into that pile of servers. Granted, and those servers on that rack, I've already pulled all the memory and stuff, so that's kind of complicated there. But yeah. And then a lot of the recycling stuff I get will go over in this part of my building, which is my teardown space, which is kind of tough to get to right now. I've been neglecting that. I have been working on too many other things, but a lot of the recycling that I get will get processed for scrap, and even some of the newer stuff, like these were all HP 800 G2 small form factors with 6th Gen i7 processors in them. And it's just, as I discussed in a different video on why stuff gets recycled, or why recycling companies turn stuff into scrap metal, it made no sense to bother with these. I mean, I'm going to make the same amount of money pulling the chips and the memory and stuff. and just scrapping the rest. I mean, as stupid as it is. So, yeah, that's kind of how I get a lot of my stuff. Sometimes I'll buy stuff from auctions as well. Those have really been hit or miss, because a lot of times with auctions you end up competing against people that don't know what they're doing, and they kind of running up prices. So it's a lot better to buy directly from the customer. That way you can get the item for a fair price. I'm probably a little too generous on my stuff, and it's starting to kind of bite me in the butt with the various market crashes that are going on right now with used goods. But like a lot of my desktops, usually what I pay is whatever the CPU is worth at the time, and then I figure the other parts inside of them will make up for my profits. But yeah, oh boy, right now I have quite the mess going here. I gotta tear some of this stuff down and make it go away, especially some of these bigger items like these printers. These are worthless. They're just a bunch of plastic. Luckily I have a vendor that I work with that I just give them to him whole. I don't have to tear them down. I don't get paid anything for them though, so it's one of those things where I'd rather have the time than the money. So yeah, there might be 50 cents worth of scrap in that Epson printer there. But yeah, and then just more recycling. Sometimes I get stuff where it's the value curve, I guess, kind of went against me, and the values dipped, and I'm waiting for it to go back up. So that's why I got a lot of these vintage PCs, like that whole palette there. That should be mostly Pentium 3 and older. That palette there is all Tandy stuff. Got some Tandy laser printers even. But luckily that stuff's kind of low priority. Really the only concern I have to keep in mind is if the whole retro computing thing goes out of style, but it's not something I'm overly worried about versus 4th gen i7 desktop. Nobody wants those even anymore, even though they're perfectly good for day-to-day use. But right now, my goal is to kind of clean things out. That's kind of what I'm trying to do here. I mean, these are a bunch of old gigabit 2960G switches. They're kind of in a weird state of worthlessness, and it's going to make more sense to probably just scrap them and recycle them for the metals than it is to actually sell them, which kind of sucks, but I don't know. Then I get things like this. I mean, yeah, it's just a Scepter monitor. This is a recycling pickup deal, but it's cracked. I forget where. I think it's somewhere up in this corner. I might actually be able to use it if I was feeling crazy, but I got too many monitors as it is. But this will be nice because I can sell this stand probably for hopefully enough to justify my time. And I might, I don't like selling monitor parts, but I might pop this back panel off and see if there's any good controller boards to sell. But yeah, that's a little bit more in depth on, I guess, how I get my stuff. I guess one other thing is I sometimes will work with other businesses and do like recycling drop-off events where the business hosts the event and then I take care of the recycling. It's another good way to get more recycling in as a business. Otherwise, personally, I like to rely on word of mouth just because I like to deal with customers that are loyal and easy to deal with, and usually the best way to get customers like that is through word of mouth. But hopefully that was interesting, and thanks for watching.